Let's talk about friendship in emerging adulthood. Friends are still particularly important when you are an adult. I mentioned previously that friends, especially close friends, become particularly important in middle childhood, and that continues into adolescence and continues into emerging adulthood. Friendship reaches a peak of functional significance. You get a lot from your friends. And one thing that happens is because of life changes, typically you're not in the same situation where like you go to high school and you're surrounded by lots of people and you have the potential for making friends just in your classes and things like that. Typically, your friendships change and you start to value, different types of friendships. Because emerging adults are entering work, college, community, all right, they do have more friends at this time of life than at other periods of adulthood, and they need friends to navigate all their new experiences. All right, so, and those who don't have friends can feel particularly isolated and lonely when they have to do things like move to a new city for a new job and they don't have their friends to fall back on, to get help, just practical help with moving, but also talking to them for the emotional aspects of friendship. We do see some sex differences in friendship. Now I say sex differences because the research that has been conducted, it seems to focus on male versus female. Sometimes with sex or gender relevant work, it is difficult to tell exactly if they're talking about sex versus gender. All right. And in the future, we probably do need to be more clear, like, hey, are we talking about sex or gender identity? But we do see some differences when you compare males to females in emerging adulthood, and this kind of overlaps with some differences we see even in childhood. All right, so female friendships. Female friendships are very much revolved around very much valuing intimacy, emotional connection, trust, loyalty, emotional support, being able to tell each other secrets and to vent, and self-disclosure. All right, being able to tell each other things is very important for female friendships. Now, for male friendships, yeah, you do have that, but it's less of the center. Self-disclosure is very important for male friendships too. So both male and female have self-disclosure, telling each other things as something important, but less emphasis on emotionality and emotional closeness or intimacy with male friendships. And with men, you get limited touching, possibly because of socialization about acceptable behavior, acceptable touching for males versus females, but they don't express affection as much, particularly with physical affection. That's why it's funny in movie scenes where you have, a guy saying, "Oh, I love you, man." Why is that played for love? It's because you very rarely do see that. It's not like you never do, but you see that much less often than two female friends, opening up, "I love you, you're the best, what would I do without you?" You see different quality. And these are just trends. You're going to know exceptions. You might know two male friends, they're like, "Oh, we have that emotional connection, and we're okay with hugging each other." But the overall general trends, they show these differences. And they do kind of overlap with some of the differences we see even with little boys and little girls. All right, now, next video is going to be about marriage and romantic relationships.